So can you tell me how you started on the journey of feral? Because this sounds amazing.
Yeah, the journey of feral has been challenging and really life-changing. Life-changing is what feral is for me, and I hope it will be for many other people as well. I have always lived a very unconventional life in many ways. I've tried to forge my own path, and I knew that I wanted to create something special back in North Wales. I lived most of my adult life in London or abroad, but I knew I was always so connected with my homeland, with wanting to fulfill its potential, bring more people to Wales. And whatever I've done in life has been about creating community. I've created so many different types of events or groups or fundraising projects. And it took me a long while to realize what is my true purpose, you know. So feral for me has been a very challenging personal journey that's led me to having a very happy, fulfilled, happy, and it seems very successful life now in many ways. It started with me deciding I want to fulfill my dream and create this special place in North Wales without even having a very clear vision of what it was. I knew that I wanted to bring people to North Wales. I knew I wanted to help people, create community. I had a limited amount of property knowledge. I knew it would be able to serve me. And so I said, I'm moving to Anglesey, somewhere I'm actually not from. I'm from Wrexham. My mum had moved there a year before. It introduced me to the island better, realised it was a place of healing. You've got these views of Snowdonia and the Llyn Peninsula because it's quite a flat island. And then you've got the views of the farmland. It's truly special. And there's so much potential there. There's so many manor houses and complexes and very little investors in the area. So I knew there was potential for me to go there and create something special. The problem is that I moved to a place that I didn't know anybody. I didn't have my fully formed vision. I didn't have the expertise that I needed. I was wanting to build this space, but I didn't have everything I needed to be able to do that. So that first year in Anglesey was incredibly challenging. I was quite lonely. I didn't have the full direction that I have now. And so I went through a series of failures, which we call learnings. And these were the property projects and the big spaces that I thought I could very bluntly buy below market value, raise investor cash, refinance. And they were the wrong spaces, and it was the wrong strategy for what I wanted to create. And through these learnings, I realized what I needed to do and what I needed to create. But at the end of that year, that particular 1 year in Anglesey, it brought me to a place of feeling like a real failure. And a month before Christmas, especially around Christmas when it's a happy time of the year, it's where families are coming together. I found it quite challenging knowing that I was coming to the end of my year, incredibly poor, loads of failed projects, they'd all fallen through. I was quite lonely. And I did a breathwork session, which unlocked a lot of hidden trauma. And it reactivated a version of myself, my inner child, telling me that I am a failure. Because what I've realized now when I was 14, that was how I truly felt about myself. So we come up to Christmas time and I actually decided to do a hike around the Isle of Anglesey. I thought I'm going to end my year well. I'm going to do this 12-day charity hike. The reason why it's so important is it has changed my life, and it's really given real purpose and clarity in what I want to achieve with what I'm creating with Feral. So Christmas Eve came and I had already done 6 days of walking in the wind and rain for this charity hike around Anglesey with my dog, and it was great. But when I was 14, I couldn't ask for anything because a 14-year-old, my family were very loving, but I never had the space to be able to be emotionally open. Yeah, it didn't feel like a safe space. My mum is very pragmatic and practical and straightforward with her advice, but the emotional support that I needed wasn't there. On Christmas Eve, I was particularly physically tired from the walk. And then the year as a whole, I was also mentally tired. I was feeling like a failure. And my mum said something to me on Christmas Eve. She said in a very direct way, "For God's sake, it's Christmas Eve. What's wrong with you?" And it was a bit flippant. And what I didn't realize was that I had this very present 14-year-old self speaking inside. And when my 14-year-old self, growing up as a queer kid in a village in North Wales, I was seen as different. And I was told that I was not worthy, that I was unlovable. just because of who I am. And so at that point on Christmas Eve, my 14-year-old self went into this hyperdrive of saying, look, you're not even appreciated by your own mother. You're not loved. And I actually decided on Christmas morning that it would be my last day here on earth. I decided that I'm going to complete this, to carry on with my walk and find the cliff that would end my life. And it gave me such pleasure to know that I wouldn't be a burden on anyone, that I wasn't worthy of living. Now, the problem is, as my rational adult self, I know that that's nonsense, that I am loved, that I am worthy, that yes, I've had a crap year, that I haven't fulfilled my dreams and that I am lonely. But it wasn't enough to end my life. I really knew as a present adult Tom that I was loved, that my family would miss me dearly, my friends would do, that I have all the opportunities in the world. But the voice that was in the back of my head, that subconscious, destructive inner child, was telling me that it would be better if I wasn't here. And that's why it's so important for me. And my mission with Feral is to make sure that everybody recognizes who's really speaking in their head, that they are really living as their authentic present self, not what their past traumas have brought to them that's created these many voices in their head that are not heard. You don't realize that they're happening still, even if you're 20, 30, 40, 60. Will have destructive inner voices if you have not dealt with them. You've not had that conversation with them. Now, this is a very big jump into quite a serious topic, but it's not a story of pity or sadness. I really want it to be a story of hope and power for myself and for other people, because from this point, from that lowest point of my life, led me to personal development, therapy, and I feel completely unlocked. I feel like my full potential is becoming a reality because I recognize who my inner voices are, those destructive ones. I've appeased them, I've spoken to them, and so they're not so present anymore. I'm able to make real choices that are true to myself, that make me happier, make me healthier, and I have found great success because I am making those right choices. And so Feral is born from there. And I think it's going to help a lot of people.
So what encapsulates Feral? What is it that's your essence that's made this incredible business?
Feral is a way of life. It is to be your authentic self, but to do it unapologetically. Now, I know that sounds really woo-woo, but it could help so many people understanding it better. And to say, and I know we hear this thing quite often about being your authentic self, but the problem is to be authentic is actually really difficult because we are living mostly through our inner child. We're not often living as our authentic adult self. And so we need to have that deeper question with ourselves. What trauma do we need to unlock? Now, when I use the word trauma, obviously there are certain severe types of trauma, but there could be things like you were a middle child. And so you had to work that little bit harder to gain your parents' attention and love. And so for the rest of your life, whether you realize it or not, you're chasing that attention and love. And so you work maybe too much. You work really hard in your job, unhealthily so, even though it's detrimental to your health, because you're actually appeasing your 6-year-old self. It's mad how many of us, I think, well, everybody really, unless you've done a lot of personal development, you're just constantly appeasing this younger self. Most of our trauma does come from when we're a child, when we're in high school, depending how we were treated in school. It can happen from certain traumatic experiences as adults, but most of the conversations we need within or with our younger selves. And so Feral is about helping people back to their authentic self. So they're making the right choices, that they're making the decisions in their life that truly does bring them joy, that makes them happy and healthy people, that they're saying yes when they really want to do something and no when it's not right for them. But to be able to make the correct, authentic choices, you have to do the deeper work. And so Feral, for me, is an ethos, and it's a community that I want to build to empower people so they can, first and most importantly, make them happy and healthier. And through that, I think success will then follow. So
what can someone expect when they come on a retreat with you?
Well,
what's the premise of that? What are you hoping that someone will walk away with?
I want to deliver Feral in many ways that I can. And I'm developing retreat venues on the island of Anglesey with grand visions to expand from there. But I want to create spaces that firstly allow all types of community groups to come together. So whether you're a women's walking group, a men's mental health group, you're a wellness practitioner with clients, you're corporate wellness, whether you're a mentor or a coach with men, I want to create these spaces where you can bring your community, choose the amount of accommodation you want, work with the facilities on site, such as the event studio, the spa facilities, the nature trails. And then I'm working with local practitioners. So if you need a yoga teacher or you need a private chef, it helps create those bespoke retreats that you and your community can come together and quite easily organize. But I am really excited about developing and creating more feral created retreats. We recently had one where we brought business leaders, property investors together to really pause, to help achieve the three things that I want feral to do for people. And number one, and most importantly, I think, is helping people connect with their authentic self. So as I said, they're making the right choices in their life, in their business, not what they feel that they should do, what their inner child tells them they should do, or what society expects of them, but what's right for them. Number two is to connect them with a like-minded tribe or community. And that's about building that community of feral for people to feel supported and know that there are other people who are on the same personal development journey and wanting more out of life. And then finally and thirdly, and I say this is actually probably even more important, is our connection with nature. We live a very busy life in front of our screens, and many of us live urbanly, but we don't connect to nature. We don't see the mountains, the seas. We don't touch the grass, and there's so much power in that. And so Anglesey, being where it is, a perfect place to host these retreats. So authenticity, community, and nature are the three core components of what a feral retreat brings. When you have an idea in your head and you know what you should be doing and that you're going to create this beautiful retreat that really empowers people, that brings them clarity. I know it's right, but until it's actually done, it's almost, oh gosh, is this going to work? And the first retreat that we've had with, I think we were 18 in total, and it was a short weekend. It was from Friday afternoon to Sunday. And at the closing circle on Sunday, the outpouring of love and vulnerability and everyone saying how much clarity they've found, how much peace. And for some people, they said, this has really changed my life in some way. It's really opened my eyes to how important self-development is. And that is the biggest rewarding feeling I can get, because I know how much happiness will follow from this. I know it opens up a journey. And there were some people who came who openly said, one guy, I won't say his name, I'm sure he'd be fine, but he was like, I'm not really into woo-woo, but I'll come, I'm going to challenge myself. And he ended up saying at the end of the retreat is that I love woo-woo. And we had a great therapist on the Saturday who did our breathwork session. And he's going to do private therapy, private personal development with my therapist, Callum, because he's like, this is amazing. There's so much potential within me, so many choices I know I could be making that could really create a most amazing, fulfilling life. But I know now it actually starts with me. There is a certain amount of how important your network is and your knowledge and experience, but true untapped potential starts with knowing your true authentic self. And to hear someone like that who was not adverse to woo-woo or therapy, but had never stepped into that sphere, to then go, actually, I'm going to go full on in. And that's such a rewarding piece of feedback to have.
It's absolutely magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to know that you've had an impact on those people's lives moving forward.
Yeah, it was great. There was just so many different elements. The food was amazing. I'm developing this feral feast where we have cooking over an open fire. It's very primal. We had fire cacao ceremonies where bang into a drum and calling on the elements. And there's no alcohol the whole weekend. And I know that to a lot of people that sounds boring. I used to drink a lot of alcohol, but we often use it as a crutch. We try to escape feeling uncomfortable. And from my own personal development journey and seeing how important it is to sit in that uncomfortableness, in that awkwardness, because firstly you find out a lot about yourself. Why do you react in a certain way? But I also think it creates genuine connection with other people as well. So yeah, that's something I try and say all the time is to people. It's fine to feel uncomfortable. It's fine to have awkward silences. It's fine to be imperfect, because there's so much release and joy from not trying to always strive and achieve this perfect self all the time.
I'm going to go off on a slight tangent because you're talking about imperfection and being real. What are your personal thoughts about social media?
Yeah, social media.
It's a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah. I think with social media, it doesn't help us to try and strive to be our authentic, imperfect self. We feel like we need to portray this perfection. And in that, we lose our real sense of self and we don't really connect with people. And I think more and more people are looking for that authenticity. They're looking for other people to really relate to. We're not looking for absolute perfect Kim Kardashians. And I think there is a turning tide on social media. I know that AI isn't helping again, but we all have an opportunity to change how social media is. And I think we need to just be more real about ourselves and our businesses. And for me, that's been a massive learning in my journey, is that not striving to be my perfect self has led me to so many more real opportunities. The way, for example, in my property deals now, most of them have been direct to vendor. And I've not gone in as the perfect businessman who's savvy and knows everything. I tell them my limitations. I can share my vision. I can share what I want to do, and I'm solutions focused. It's allowed me to connect with vendors when they know I have no money, that I work with investors' money, or I will find a business partner. And so coming back to social media, I think we all have a responsibility to try and be a bit more authentic and raw, because you'll actually find more genuine connection with the people you really want to connect to. And having that vulnerability opens up other people to be vulnerable and to realize that not everybody's perfect, not everything around you is perfect, and life is unfair and you've got to struggle, and that's fine because you learn from it and you grow.
So what would your advice be to someone now looking to get into property or start their own business? Someone who's sat there, they're excited, they've got all these things going on in their head. What would be the first step that you'd advise them to take?
So I started property actually about 15 years ago, started flipping flats in London, and I used it as a tool to be able to travel the world. In between the projects, I was able to live abroad, fulfill all my personal passion projects. Yeah, it was quite incidental, really, and it worked well. It made me very happy. And at the age of 30, there's this expectation, okay, 30 is coming along. I need to be a bit more serious now. And so I decided, okay, I need to be a serious property investor. That's what I've got to do. That's what's expected. I got myself a first mentor, and I went straight in on my first day, and I said, I want to build my special place in North Wales. And he said, yeah, you've got to build up your triangle. You've got to do your buy-to-lets, your HMOs. And there is a valid reason behind it. And I recognize that the importance of understanding that. And I am grateful that I did follow that prescriptive journey that you're supposed to do, because I did learn a lot from it. And I do think it's valid to understand the principles of property investment and to develop your portfolio, develop a security blanket effectively, and the lessons and learnings that will come through that, the network that you'll build. However, I'm very much about people fulfilling their wildest dreams. And I think if you follow the prescriptive pathway that society expects you to do, or even the top property investors are telling you to do this, it doesn't mean it's the right path for you. I started building my buy-to-let portfolio and expanding, but it didn't bring me any joy. I put my special place on the back foot because I thought I had to solely build up my portfolio. But really, looking back, what I should have done is go, okay, I'm going to give 50% of time of building my portfolio and 50% time of following my wildest dreams, because your wildest dreams will come through three things. That's firstly, personal development, that you need to do that to achieve great things. 2 is to build up your experience. And 3 is to build up your network. And so those are 3 things you can do from the offset. If you've got a massive dream of building massive wellness retreats, which I'm doing, I need to go, who else is doing this? Who do I connect? Who do I follow? Who do I learn from? Where do I gain that experience? Who do I go and work for? Who do I ask? Who do I pay for that consultation or mentoring? So for anyone getting into property or business, I would never limit yourself right from the beginning. I'd always have your wildest dream goal at the end and work backwards. But do some of the sensible stuff as well. Yeah, read the books, get yourself a mentor, join a property group and learn the basics, build up that network. But never lose sight of your real true potential and never follow the prescriptive path that others feel that you should follow.
So finding the land and the buildings for the retreat must have been quite an undertaking. Can you give any advice to people on how you found the property, the land, structured the deal?
Yeah. So it was from those failed projects that I learned a lot, that I couldn't buy such big places with such a big vision with a blunt purchasing strategy of BRR effectively. I knew I had to work creatively. And strangely, I'd never done any creative classes, but through networking and listening to people do all these different types of creative purchases, I used an amalgamation of them all in different projects to be able to purchase and develop some projects which were way beyond what I've ever done before. To go back to being that personal development is still key to it all, because all of them were direct to vendor. And so being able just to have real authentic conversations with the vendors first and foremost. For example, Bron Menai, my wellness retreat, the reason I moved there, my dream, I went to a networking meeting lunch thing, which I normally wouldn't go to. I was feeling particularly confident about myself. And as normal, they go around the table, say, oh, what do you do? And I said, without any kind of doubt, with any embarrassment, I'm building a wellness retreat. And the second question was, where is your wellness retreat? So I said, I don't have it yet, but I'm building one regardless. It's going to happen, which is ridiculous to say, really. It's such a, almost, I don't know, a pretentious thing to say, but I had that much confidence in myself that this is what I'm going to do. And the woman sitting next to me said, I've got a manor house and 9 cottages and 8 acres of land, walled gardens. It's not on the market yet. Would you like to come and have a look? And that was it.
Wow.
And that was just having that inner confidence to say, I'm building something, even though I don't have it. So I'll always keep talking about personal development because the opportunities that come from that. And so that deal was mainly a large title split exercise. So we were able to massively add equity to the property deal as a whole by title splitting on purchase, effectively adding a whole third worth of value on top of what I was buying it for. And it gave me confidence then to do other deals. So I have another large title split exercise, another complex of manor house with several cottages. And then the big property project is a whole mixture of, again, direct to vendor, title splitting, I've done a lease option. And then on the purchase, we're leaving £1 million with vendor finance, with some planning gain involved in between lease option and purchase as well. And it's understanding those creative ways have unlocked mega potential deals. And because of the added value that I've been able to add to these projects through planning gain or title splitting, it also de-risks the projects as well, because I know I can sell them off in parts, because at some point I'm going to mess up, something's going to go wrong, and I can go, I've got a spare cottage here or a house here, and I can sell it off. So it's about having that self-belief in yourself, the unlimited potential within you that you know that's there, and working creatively to unlock these kind of mega property deals.
It's amazing the fact that you were sat in the same room with the woman almost like sat next to you.
Yeah.
That is like literally like manifestation at its best, isn't it?
It really is. It really is, yeah. And that's why for me, therapy and personal development is your biggest tool into fulfilling your wildest dreams.
Yeah, you could have gone into that room that day, not said anything, or just went, hello, I'm Tom.
Yeah, I buy and sell houses or property, which is what I do, but I shared my bigger vision.
Yeah.
And the universe came back to me.
Immediately.
Yeah.
That blows my mind, that does.
It is.
I just happen to have this manor house and land. It's just, it's like dreams come true.
It is. The amount of coincidences that have followed since opening up, since having that unlimited potential that I recognize is there, having that inner confidence to just be open, be unembarrassed, sounding a bit wanky sometimes, talking about personal development and woo-woo all the time. I don't care anymore. I don't care because it has served me, it's helped me, and it's helping others.
I love that, Tom. So where can we find you on social media? How can people get in touch with you?
So my Instagram handle is Tom is Feral, and the Feral Instagram is findyourferal.co. That's what the website is, the same, findyourferal.co. It's still the very early stages of Dream. I've developed these retreat venues on the island of Anglesey, and I'm about to launch news of my biggest project yet, a huge wellness and community focused holiday resort. And I don't even have a proper website. I don't have the social media or the marketing. I know it's coming. I know it's about to come on its way. And I think that's another lesson, is that you don't always have to be absolutely perfect up front. It's something it's just about getting started. And even if you do it imperfectly, just get started.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing your experiences with us today. It's been, it's tugged here and hit home personally as well.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and well done to you as well for everything you've done. It's amazing.